Rhodes also said that his sister could whip me on any street in America. Well, let me tell you something, Dusty Rhodes. I've heard a lot about your sister. I know she's been on a lot of streets, so she knows them real well. As a matter of fact, they used to call Dusty's sister Federal Express. Did you know that? When she went out on a date, she absolutely positively had to be there overnight. But I want to talk about Dusty's whole family. I want to talk about his drunken old daddy down there in Austin, Texas, every Saturday night. Dusty Rhodes' father would go in the worst low-class redneck saloon in Austin, Texas, and there would be fighting, there would be swearing, there would be cussing, and a lot of hard drinking. And finally, he'd be able to drag Dusty's mother out of there. But you know something about Dusty's daddy? He was a successful businessman. As a matter of fact, before he was a plumber, he owned a shoe store. He owned a shoe store down there in Austin, Texas, and he did so good at it that to this day, every time the city of Austin, Texas thinks of black loafers, they think of Dusty's father. But let me tell you something, Dusty Rhodes, and I want you to listen real good. The Cornette family has long been regarded not only in Louisville, Kentucky, but all over the country, all over the world, as one of the finest families ever in this country. Beautiful Bobby Sweet Stan, they come from money, they come from power, they come from movers and shakers, they come from the upper crust. We are not riffraff, we're not rednecks, we're not farmers, and we're not plumber sons like you. So don't you ever dare make comments about the Cornette family, because, brother, let me tell you something. We're going to take that into consideration. Just remember, your daddy spent his whole life in other people's toilets, and while he was out there with that plumber's helper, every delivery boy and out-of-work bum in Austin, Texas knew the color of your mama's bedroom. You remember that. Let's go.
More after this timeout, fans.
We had, say what? A whole lot of superstars on this stage here tonight. But I want y'all to know one thing. This is my house. And when I say who's
word attack skills and vocabulary too. Cover hits in this edition is all brand new. You're through. I'm interplanetary. It's like who? So who?
Fuck your beef, no relief. I step on stage, girls scream like I'm Keith.
What's up, everybody? Ring Tide Pro Wrestling is at it again. It is Keith riding solo on an early Friday morning. I'm actually punching this out before I go to work. Basically what we're doing, I think we're going to do this every year from now on. NXT Takeover is a huge event, WrestleMania weekend. This is the first time you're hearing from us live this week for WrestleMania week. So that's the thing. But we want to make sure that we give everything the proper attention. WrestleMania is such a big show, we could do a show about that by itself. And we could do the same thing with Takeover. So here we are. So what we're going to do, I will break down some news from the week. Not going to get too much of the formalities of like other stuff. And then I'm going to preview Takeover. Keisha is not with us because she probably is just getting off work. So we're going to knock this out. And we're going to talk about some wrestling. As I always say, the doors of the chat room are open. But yeah, let's get ready for this crazy, monumentous week that we have in the world of professional wrestling. And let's start it off with what's happened. Big news. Well, let's start with little news. Fun news. HBK has cut his hair. As most of y'all have seen on the internet, Shawn Michaels has cut the ponytail. The long hair. He has a businessman special going on right now. And I see some of y'all kind of mad. And I'm like, hey, that man almost 50 years old. Yeah, it's time. It's time, everybody. Don't worry about it. It's time. So, yeah, good look. Also, you know, that man kind of thinning at the top like myself. Hey, man, you can't be supporting that long hair. So, yeah. Oops. I forgot to turn off my alarm. But ignore that. But yeah, so that's happening. Brock Lesnar. WrestleMania may be his last match indeed. He apparently could be going back to the UFC full time. it's something Dana White brought up. So this is not conjecture. This is not, this ain't no dirt sheet. Like, this is actually Dana White in an interview talking. But he did kind of hit at it, so we don't know. I can see this being his last thing, right? Which, let's say this is his last match in WWE for a long time. Because I won't ever say it, never. Brock is becoming a man of a certain age, but within the next 5 years or so, I think he still might want to pull off something else. He strikes me as somebody who will stay in good enough shape over the years where he could probably still... And I mean, his presence is still dominant, right? This would be a good story for him. And if we're putting Roman over... Despite how you feel about Roman Reigns, right? Despite whether you think he deserves to be in the spot that he is in or any of those things, this would make sense, right? So, Roman, who had a chance 3 years ago to beat Brock Lesnar and to ascend to the highest height, but it got stolen from him. Fast forward, I mean, he beat Triple H. He got the belt, but that, I don't know. I guess it just doesn't mean the same. This one here, if Roman, after beating the Undertaker at WrestleMania, the very next year comes back and beats Brock Lesnar, the man who previously beat the Undertaker. There's only two men who ever done it, him and Brock. Now we're talking King of the Hill, right? Roman takes that belt. He's vanquished John Cena earlier in the year. These are some resume points that he can put up to say, hey, this is the guy. Now, does that mean he'll start going down the pantheon as one of the greatest all time? Hey, man, all that remains to be seen. They are convinced that this is the dude, so we go live with it, and we go learn, and we go find out. And I think they'll figure out a way to make it work for him. But yeah, I mean, I think this goes to probably a really good story that they could tell. That being said, next thing to go on, and I've heard people pitch like, oh, maybe we should have Paul turn on Brock, and then Paul and Roman can have a run. I'm convinced that when Brock is done, Paul is done. Like, I think Paul has been back for a while doing this thing just because he's wanted to help out Brock. Like, I don't think he's, interested in, just going up and down that road, especially with a guy like Roman, because Roman's going to be there every week. You know what I mean? Like, Roman's not missing no sleep. Brock, if you rolling on Brock's schedule, yeah, I can do that. I can show up every couple of weeks, every couple of months here and there. You know what I mean? Do the thing, do the spit, and then go. Yeah, that makes sense. Try to do that Roman shit every night? Nah, man. I got family, I got kids, I got other business ventures. I can see Paul not. No, ain't doing that. All right. Sad note this week. WWE Hall of Famer Johnny Valiant passed away. People been saying passed away. The man was killed. He was a very popular wrestler in the 1970s. Was a part of the kayfabe Valiant brothers. Passed away, 71 years old. They said it was a car accident, but really, a car hit him. You know what I mean? So, this is what they're going to say. Police said he ran across a busy road and was hit by a truck. He was not in the crosswalk, which I don't like because that's kind of like dismissing the idea. The crosswalk is not this mythical. I do understand the rules of traffic, everybody. But it's not this mythical, magical thing that's like going to create a force shield around you. If you are driving down the street, people, please just pay attention. People go out in the street all the time. I don't think that a 71-year-old man tried to beat traffic. And maybe it's just a wrestling fan to me. I'm just saying, I don't think a 71-year-old man tried to beat traffic. I think somebody wasn't paying attention. Somebody was trying to send a tweet or something. But at the end of the day, man lost his life. They do have witnesses. There was other traffic on the road at the time. So they were able to speak with some witnesses of the accident. The driver of the truck did stay at the scene. They did man up. And right now, they just investigating. There's no word if that man going to be charged or woman. I don't know who the driver is. But at least they stayed at the scene and didn't, like, do some real shitty shit and drive off. But, yeah, man. Valiant. Hall of Famer. Big time in the 70s and 80s. Two-time tag team champion. Yeah. It's unfortunate. But now on to other things. I'm trying to figure out if there's anything else I want to cover in the news, which I guess it doesn't really matter because I'll be back tonight, actually, to give y'all the WrestleMania preview. So if I do miss anything, I'll be back. The Rock confirms he will not be at WrestleMania this weekend. That dude got like 8 movies coming out. I figured that wasn't happening. CM Punk, we know his next opponent in the UFC. While we're talking a little UFC wrestler crossover, I think his name is Mike Jackson. I'm pretty confident CM Punk go get them hands again. But I don't knock him for it, and this is what I'm saying. The man had a dream. He went after his dream. He got to live it. That once you go out in the octagon, if you train enough to get out to the octagon, you're already a winner in the sense of you've bypassed, you know what I mean, so much to get to your dream. It's like being in the NFL. Hey man, if you go out there and you are a quarterback and you get sacked the first play of your NFL career, hey, do you know how hard it was to get that NFL career and get out there and get to a real game and open? So that's all I'm saying. So we're there, but let's go to Takeover because I gotta knock this out. I gotta get ready for work, and I don't think y'all came to hear me ramble about other stuff. Maybe y'all did. It is entirely possible y'all did come hear me ramble about stuff. But, you know, we are here to talk about Takeover New Orleans. So, of course, I have to set the mood. Sorry, y'all. I started rocking out too hard. So this is how we've been doing this. The serious NXT Takeover has been around about 4 years. We started doing it at WrestleMania in 2016 in Dallas. So this is going to be like the third one that's done at WrestleMania weekend. Huge matches, huge rivalries. This has become its own great thing. Takeover is a big thing because it seems like it steals the show at every pay-per-view that it precedes. When they line up takeovers with WWE main roster pay-per-views, takeover seems to like really shine. Now, I'll give it this: WrestleMania weekend, it shines, but WrestleMania is just such a spectacle that it's kind of hard to overcome. But out of all the events this weekend, because there are monster events going down, Ring of Honor is going to put together an incredible show this weekend if you're down in New Orleans. And, hey man, you can watch it. You can put it up on your TV. I think Honor Club members get to see it for free. So if you feel like paying for it, pay for it. Watch it. Watch Ring of Honor this weekend. Watch all the wrestling. That's what I can tell you. Impact Wrestling. I'm not going to call them TNA anymore. Impact Wrestling and Lucha Underground is doing something this weekend. It's going down. So, like, there's lots of stuff to see. Hall of Fame should be on tonight. If you at the crib and you ain't doing it, check it out. I'm very interested to hear the Jeff Jarrett speech. I'm very interested to hear Mark Henry. I'm very interested to hear Jeff Jarrett and Mark Henry. I hope Kid Rock slips on a banana peel, falls off the stage, and breaks his neck. I do not wish him death. I just wish him serious bodily injury. That being said, I kind of got off the rocker here. Takeover. This thing is going to be monstrous. So tomorrow night, going down at Smoothie King Center, the crowd is going to be raucous because NXT fans are the passionate, smart fans, the guys, the women who really, really love wrestling. And NXT presents them the perfect classic wrestling show. The 1 hour show once a week is a good thing. Takeover probably run about 2 hours, which is perfect timing. They're going to get it in and get it hard. I'm already going to say Adam Cole is set to possibly be the MVP of this thing, because it's going to be a 2 monstrous matches. This, man, the belief in Adam Cole right now is like, whoa. But I'm going to go down the line. Unsanctioned match. Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. Also, what I would say about this event now, like, every single match has really deep story. Like, they aren't doing anything out here just to throw out some bullshit. But I digress. Gargano and Ciampa. You know the history. You know what happened. This is something that's embedded for some years, right? Best friends, enemies. They've been through it all. You wondered when the guy was going to turn on the guy. DIY was a team that should have been a champion, but they didn't quite get over the hump. One guy turned on the other. Then, he got injured. He came back, finished a turn because he attacked a man after like one of the biggest losses of his career. And here we are. Gargano going from NXT after that third match with Cien and Almas, which I didn't think was going to happen. I thought he would the belt, and I thought this would be for the NXT title. But this match doesn't need a title belt because it has all the anger and bitter, and it's going unsanctioned. Unsanctioned because Gargano is technically not an NXT employee anymore. So they cannot have a sanctioned match. But if Gargano wins, he will get his job back. If a champion wins, Gargano is gone for good. I don't think that's a major sticking point in how this match is going to turn out, because here's the thing. I see Gargano, the guy is so good. I can see them just plugging him in on SmackDown next week. I can see them plugging him in at 205 Live. I would rather it be SmackDown. I can see him challenging for that U.S. title there. But more than likely, it probably would be 205 Live. But I don't think that's going to happen. With Candice LeRae coming in to NXT now, I think that Gargano will stick around NXT for a while. Also, I don't think we've noticed this, but people have been staying at NXT a lot longer lately. over the past couple of years. You know, the way it used to work was, if you got in and you got hot enough, after a couple of months, man, you was gone. Especially if you had a good title run or something. Oh, it was over. Like Kevin Owens did about 2 months or 3 months at NXT, and it was like, nah, we got to get this bread. Now, guys like Sami Zayn did it, a year or so. Finn Balor did a good amount of time, but a lot of his time was as champ. Shinsuke Nakamura did the year, got it, and then he was out. A lot of guys don't. Apollo Crews didn't last long in NXT. May have actually been called up too soon. So that's kind of how it's been going, the trajectory. But lately, the past year or two, I think people have stuck around, especially if they don't have a roster player for them just yet. So we'll see what happens. But I'm going with Gargano tonight tomorrow night beating Ciampa. Match 2. I'm going to assume, I don't know if this is going to be 2 or 1. It's probably going to be the first match of the night, because they like starting off shows with tag matches. The Undisputed Era, which Adam Cole will be filling in for Bobby Fish, because Bobby Fish is injured. They just announced it, I think, on the most recent NXT. But you got to remember, Bobby Fish has been hurt for a long time, and they probably thought that maybe that injury would heal. And they've been kind of keeping him off TV for a while, and the way they do the TV tapings, if a guy is hurt in NXT, you can stretch it out a while, because the way the TV is set up, you don't know that he's not there, because of course it's not like live episodic like Raw or SmackDown. That being said, I think Bobby's injury is pretty bad. So Adam Cole is stepping in, because he's the third member of the Undisputed Era, Freebird rule style, and him and Kyle O'Reilly are going to defend those titles. Now, they were supposed to defend the titles against the number 1 contender, which they would have determined by the winner of the Dusty Rhodes Classic. But because of their actions this most recent week, and they ruined the match between the Authors of Pain and the unlikely team of Roderick Strong and Pete Dunne, that match is going to now be a triple threat, because Real Regal wasn't having it, and the stakes are higher. So whoever wins this triple threat match between the Authors of Pain, Roderick, and Pete Dunne, we got to get them a name. And the Undisputed Era, they will be the NXT Tag Team Champions, and they will win the Dusty Rhodes Classic. Now, if you're the Undisputed Era, hey man, you might get to win the Dusty Rhodes Classic trophy, and you didn't even win the Dusty Rhodes Classic. Like, you didn't have to fight anybody. Crazy. So that's where we are. I'm toiling over this. Now, this is what I figure. I'm going to take the Authors of Pain out of this. I actually think they've done enough time in NXT, and I think they are probably headed main roster sooner than later. So I'm going to take them out of this mix. But I've been surprised before. Like, I thought in the last triple threat they was in, I thought they wasn't going to win it. I thought I was going to go to DIY, and I thought Authors of Pain was going to go to the main roster. But I think I just went over that. People are staying longer in NXT. So that is entirely possible that he just sticks around in NXT. It leads to an interesting conundrum here. I can fully expect the Undisputed Era to win, and Adam Cole sticks around until Bobby Fish comes back, and then Fish fills back into his spot, and Adam Cole just does Adam Cole things because the guy's a rock star. Word on the street is Vince really believes in Adam Cole, and I can see that because just the spots that he's been in and the things I've seen him do, I'm like, yeah, this guy, they know they got one, and the crowd is into him. But yeah, I'm gonna rock with this. I'm gonna say the Undisputed Era wins this. Dunne and Roderick Strong are unlikely to you. Them winning the Dusty Classic is one thing. Like, I could really see that. Them going on as tag team champions, as much as they love Pete Dunne, I can see that being not working. Now, there's a caveat to this. The fans love both of these guys, and they are very, very over. I could possibly see them winning these tag team titles, and then that spoiled off into something else, because Pete got something Roderick wouldn't mind having, and that's that UK title. Pete has, and that's something that a lot of people have, and that UK title can become a distraction, and later on they end up dropping the tag team belts because of their own issues, because somebody wants to go after that UK title. But right now, I'm going to go with the Undisputed Era, because that's just kind of where it makes sense to me. Women's NXT Championship. Ember Moon takes on Shayna Baszler. These two have faced before. Ember squeaked out a win in their last match, but Baszler kind of went after her after the match. And what do we have here? We have a babyface champion that people love and have gravitated to. But she's done a lot of time at NXT. You got to remember, she wrestled Asuka in a brutal match that left both of them injured. She has main roster aspirations, and I think she's already appeared in the Royal Rumble. I'm really confident she's going to be in the Battle Royal also this week. I don't know if she's going to win this match. If Ember loses, I mean, she probably won't get called up until like a few weeks anyway. If she loses, I see her doing her rematch and then probably go on main roster. If she goes main roster, she has to go to Raw. She cannot go to SmackDown. And I say that she cannot, but here's the thing. I think her and Naomi aesthetically are too similar, even though they're totally different in ring style. I just think the aesthetics from the beginning, I just wouldn't want the confusion. And I would want her to be able to launch on her own, so I would send her to Raw. Unless I trade Naomi to Raw and then I put her, which I don't think they're going to do that because they have to change the Usos to Raw. Like, it'd become a thing, which could, all that's very possible. Like, as I was talking out, I'm like, oh no, I was dismissing it. I was like, no, that actually makes sense. We'll see. Right? So, I'm going to go Baszler, and this is why I'm going Baszler. Not because I really think she's going to win, but because I like the idea of the story, right? I like the big bad bully winning. All the heroes can't win, and I think some heroes are going to win. So I'm going to go with the big bad bully in this one. And I say that because the only person who really has shown reasonable enough to stand up to her has been Ember Moon. Now, I think Kiera Sane might be the next in line after all of this. But other than that, Ember Moon's the only one who's still, and Kiera might be going to the main roster. Mae Young Classic winner. Like, she has the resumes that they might just send her to the main roster. I like the big bad bully. And now it's just doomed for the women's division. It's like, oh wow, who's going to take down Darth Vader? And now we have to create a hero. The hero we thought we had just couldn't do it. And we thank her for her service, and she's moved on. But who's going to be our hero now to take down this monster? Who I would still have her snapping and cracking all the way through that women's roster for a little while. Because here's the thing. I need her, and I need to insinuate that she's a bad woman, and her MMA background says she's dangerous and nobody can stop her. And I would set up a money match with her and Rousey in a year. That would be my end game. My end game would be her and Rousey money match in about a year. Next match, and I ordered these specifically because they're going to need time, right? This is why that tag team match probably going to go first. Then you go Gargano. Then you come with the women's match. Then we're going to go Andrade, Cien, Almas, and Aliester Black for the NXT Championship. I feel like it's a no-brainer. From the moment I saw Aliester Black, I said that guy's going to be champ at some point. That was easy. Like, this guy, he has all the tools. He has a different look. He has a different kind of style. But it's something that fans just gravitate to. He has an unexplained charisma where he doesn't dance and song and all that stuff, but he pulls it off. Ciampa's had a nice run with the NXT title. I felt like it was a mistake putting the belt on it. I'll say this. Gargano elevated him to a point where I was like, alright, maybe I was wrong. Cool. Him and Zelina Vega will go on and do other things. They'll get a rematch and then they'll be out. I think they're going to go to the roster because she's going to carry them to the main roster. Like, I think that's the thing too. One, they'll give her some things to do with the women's division a little more. And I just think that mouthpiece is main roster ready. She can talk them to main roster. And he's good enough. You know, I'm not a big fan still, but I think he's good enough where behind her work, they'll make it work. Which that leads us to the newly minted NXT North American title. Let me tell you this. I was very happy at the announcement of that belt. I was even happier at the presentation of the belt. WWE, I have a question. Why is an NXT title so much better looking than main roster belts? The UK title is awesome. The WWE, the women's and the men's belts, they kind of, the Universal title, they all cookie cutter. And they just switched some colors. I think they could have did a better job and a better idea with that. Like, just like red for this bread and blue for that bread, and y'all didn't try hard. And the tag team belts are the shits. The IC belt is awesome, classic belt. The US title, it's okay, but it can be better, right? Like the real thing looks like a toy. The tag titles. Remember when you was a kid and you remember wrestler toys? You remember the WWE and the WCW toys, and they had the nice belts with the nice wrestlers or whatever. But then they made these offshoot toys. Like, they wasn't real wrestlers, and they wasn't from a real wrestling company. They was just like pro wrestler toys. And then they had their belts, and they was just generic ass belts. That's what your tag team titles look like. And this is from a company that's had some really good tag team belts in the past. I mean, my favorite is the 80s, early 90s tag team titles. But, you know, whatever, right? I don't get y'all, man. I don't get y'all. But, that being said, the North American title is great. It's a classic finish on a classic idea. It has some similarities to the old U.S. title from Mid-Atlantic. It also has some similarities to... y'all gotta excuse me because my computer is starting to shut down on me. And it's telling me I'm at 10%, and I cannot have that. So, did I get it in time? Yes. Yes. Okay. Almost had a shutdown in the middle of the show. Well, towards the end. All right. Got to plug in the laptop. That was going on battery. Back to this North American title. I looked at some pictures of the classic North American title from the WWF. I looked at some pictures from the North American title from the NWA. Many people have carried this belt. They honored the tradition. I like honoring tradition. I like stuff like that. This is going to be a historic belt. Now, look at the participants in the match. Adam Cole. I have just lamented all the things that I think is great about Adam Cole. EC3 is here. EC3 is here to main event at some point. That's why we brought him in. I said we like I rent a company. I wish. But that's why he's here. He's here to main event. That guy has the look. He's part. It's funny because he's a guy who they kind of was like, alright, we'll let you go, do your thing. He went out and learned and took a master's class. And now he is ready for prime time. Killian Dain. Big bruiser. Potential, but we'll see. Right? We'll see. Lars Sullivan. We'll see. Ricochet. The most highly touted free agent of recent acquisition. Internet sensation. The guys of athleticism that we're going to put in a match like this, incredible, right? Like it's a ladder match, and we have Ricochet. I've never seen Ricochet in a ladder match, but because of what guys of his style have done in the WWE and ladder matches, I expect things to go crazy. All right. That being said, please, Ricochet, be careful. Please be careful. Like, don't hurt yourself out here. Velveteen Dream. The future. This young man is very interested. I've watched him since Tough Enough. It's funny because from that class, from that show in particular, he was right. He told all of them why he was right and why he was best suited, why he should win the show, why he was better than all of them. And man, he was just right at the end of the day. The big guys sucked. ZZ just didn't have it physically. This dude was right. He was 19. He might have been slightly obnoxious, but he was right. And here's one thing. He cared about wrestling. He wanted to be a pro wrestler, and it was in his bones to be a pro wrestler. He cared about the business. He cared about the history, and that mattered to him. So to see him win is something that's cool. Now, who's going to win this match? Could Adam Cole walk out of this thing with 2 belts? I can see that. Could EC3 take that title and that's his introduction into this company? That makes sense. Could Ricochet get that belt? And that's the start of how he kicks off for this company. Because this is EC3's and Ricochet's both first major matches in this thing. I'm going to take away Dain. I'm going to take away Lars. I'm going to take away Velveteen Dream, even though I really like him. And I'm going to leave it with 3. With Ricochet, Cole, and EC3. I'm going to assume the most money is invested also in those 3. I think because they have a plan to probably move a Cole sooner, then that's going to leave EC3 and Ricochet, which I think will turn into a rivalry regardless of who wins the title. But I think it could. I will give it to EC3. I say he does something shady that causes him to win the belt, even though it's legal in a ladder match. Ricochet feels like, if it was just this one thing, if I would have did this one thing right, I'd be champ. And then he'll challenge him later, and that'll be the thing that moves them all forward. So I'm going to go EC3. Alright, with that, I have given y'all 40 minutes of audio content. I got to get ready for work. And with that being said, thank y'all for listening. We'll be back later on today with a WrestleMania preview. And with that, we'll wrap up the weekend. And then we'll be back next week. Eventually, we'll have to figure out a time for Keisha to sit down with us. Her work schedule is crazy this quarter. We knew that this was happening, that she was going to have to go overnight. And I hate it. I need my co-host. And that's the thing. Also, we have a newest member of the Hope Foundation. So I'm putting everybody on notice. This is 2018. So 2040, I'll even give it 2041. Whatever WrestleMania that is. Be prepared for a new champion. Prince Messiah Holt is in the building. He came in yesterday at a rousing 8 pounds, healthy boy. My baby sister Jessica, that's her first son, first boy of my mom's grandkids, my dad's grandkids, and of my grandmother's great grandchildren. Like, for whatever reason, all her grandkids had an unbelievable string of girls. So this is the first boy. But shout out to him. Got to hold him yesterday. Kid's awesome already. I predict big things. So, yeah. Future champ is going down. Understand it. Youngest world champ ever. 22. Be ready. It's going down. WrestleMania 2040. Just saying. And with that, we'll close out. Love you. Peace. And that's it.